In this Blender tutorial, I'm going to show you how to create a pair of sunglasses. First, I'm going to get rid of this cube by pressing X, and then I'm going to bring in the image reference by bringing an image empty. So press Shift A to create an empty image, and then I'm going to bring in the image reference by clicking on the properties here, going to my reference folder and bringing in the reference. So this is something that I prepared beforehand. You can use Photoshop or you can use GIMP to do that. So I'm going to put this, scale it up a little bit, and I'm going to increase the or rather reduce the transparency so you can see through the grid lines. Then I'm going to rotate along the x-axis and push it aside. So the image reference, you can actually get it from, you can Google, and then you can use the image reference that you want. Find those image references where you can have a front view and a side view. So right now I'm going to just move the front view reference until it faces me, and I'm going to move the reference so that the blue line here, which is the z-axis, cut right at the center. Okay, so my front reference is now set. I'm going to now duplicate by Shift D, duplicating another image reference, rotate along the z-axis 90 degrees, and then place it up. Go to the side view and push it up so that I have my image reference set up. So now I can start modeling. Okay, so first I want to create a mesh circle. So press Shift A, create a mesh circle. I'm going to use the default 32 vertices because it gives me enough detail to create the shape of the frame. So I'm going to switch over to the front view, rotate the circle in the x-axis by 90 degrees, and then I'm going to bring the circle until it is right about the center of the lens here. And I'm going to turn on my proportional editing, okay, by pressing O. And then I'm going to go to edit mode of the circle, and I'm just going to use my proportional editing. Okay, just turn it on. Press G, and you can use your middle mouse button to roll it up and down as you move and distort the shape to form the shape of the frame. So I'm just going to pull this section up here, pull this section here to gradually form the frame. So you can adjust the area of influence by just rolling your middle mouse button, and you can see you can quickly get the shape out very quickly. So try your best to follow the outline of the reference, and I'm just going to leave it here at that. Okay, so this is good enough. Now for this section here, I'm going to turn off proportional editing, so you press O again. I'm going to manually move the vertices until they are lined up vertically like this. And then I'm just going to select these group of vertices, holding down the Shift, and then just press E to extrude a section. Then press S followed by X and 0 to flatten them. Then press S followed by Z to scale them along the Z-axis. So I'm right now just going to tweak the middle section here slightly, and I'm just going to do the same for this portion here. Okay, perhaps this one can go up a little bit here, and I'm going to select these group of vertices, including this one, and then I'm going to press E, extrude all the way here, press S followed by X and then 0, then S followed by Z, and scale it down until it matches the side here. You can press R to rotate slightly. Now you can press Z to go to wireframe mode so that you can move the vertices to match the shape of the frame. I'm going to use Shift V to slide the vertex out like so. You can press Ctrl R, insert one edge loop so that I can have this section rounded up like that. And I think this should be good enough. Okay, so now you are left with a outline. Okay, I need to do a bit tweaking here. Okay, we'll work with this section later on. I can see this method can be much faster than comparing if you extrude section by section to form the entire frame, and we get quite close to the shape thanks to the proportional editing tool. Alright, so now we have a mesh, okay, that has a giant hole in the center. So right now we're going to select the hole. So in vertex mode, hold on to Alt and right mouse click to select this entire loop, and then Shift Alt right mouse click to select this top section here, and then you can use the C selection to paint select the remaining vertices. So you want to select the vertices that continuously run around the perimeter here, and then go ahead and press E to extrude. So as you extrude, you will extrude another small section out like that, so that will form the frame section. Now if you have faces that look in this weird color, most likely the normals are flipped, so you can press A a couple of times so all the faces or vertices are selected, and press Ctrl N to unify them. So now what's left is to move these remaining vertices to form the edge of the lens, okay, the hole here. So I'm going to press Z to go to wireframe mode again, and then just press G to pull these vertices out so it follows the shape of where the lens sits. Okay, so far so good. Okay, so now here comes the tricky part. Like, how do we create the lens? Like, how do we create a good looking lens that sits in the center here? So I figured out a way that you can use a proportional editing tool to create the nice bulge that comes out from the sunglasses, like looking at this side view here. So first I'm going to again select the entire continuous border, since we extrude it outwards. Okay, and we can go ahead and press E to extrude, and then press S to let it scale inwards. Okay, like that. And for the hole in the center, we are going to temporarily press F to fill it up. Okay, so when I extrude inwards, basically I'm creating a four-sided face all along. So when you press the Control Insert Edge Loop function, you can insert as many edge loops as you want. Okay, so I'm going to insert a fairly dense amount of edge loops so that I have enough edge loops to pull out to form the bulge. So right now my sunglasses frame is still a flat piece like this. So now I've deselected the vertices. So what you need to do is you want to just select you can select the face. I'm going to select the center face here. I switch over the face mode to select the face, and then I'm going to turn on my proportional editing again, but this time the profile I'm going to choose a sphere. Okay, so I'm going to split this into two views so they can see the effect of me pulling it out in proportional editing mode. So proportional editing mode is on, and the sphere profile is chosen. I'm going to press G followed by Y, and then I'm going to just pull it out gently so I can get a sphere look. But right now the sphere is very small, so I'm just going to increase the size of the sphere and just continue adjusting until I get the shape that I want. So right now I can't really see the curvature of the lens that I want, so I'm going to switch over to the top view, and I'm going to try again. So press G followed by Y in this case, so I'm going to pull it out and increase the size of the sphere, and now I have the If I go to shaded mode and then press to object mode, so now I have this very nice bulging look, and also even the frame itself is bulging out slightly. So okay, so now the next operation is to separate the section that form the lens and the section that forms the frame. So I'm going back to edit mode, and I'm going to hold down to the Alt key and right mouse click and select this patch. Okay, right now I notice that there is an additional face that's running across here and it's sitting between. I'm going to get rid of those faces if possible. Okay, never mind. I will just hold down to Alt and right mouse click and select all these faces that run across the loop, and holding down the C to go to paint selection and select the remaining faces here. Then I'm going to press P to peel it or separate it. So I'm going to choose selection. So now the frame is separated from the lens. Okay, so for the lens itself, I've noticed that if you see something like this, a dot that is sitting on the edge, that means there's a face hiding over there. So I'm going to try to get rid of it. So I'm going to select the central face, okay, and then I'm going to hold down to Control number pad plus to gradually increase the selection until I reach the last row of faces. Then I'm going to press Control I to invert the selection and then delete away these faces. So now the faces living on the edge is gone. Alright. So now I've got the frame and I've got the lens. The next thing I'm going to do is to extrude. So I'm going to rename this. So right now I have the lens, so I'm going to select the lens. I'm going to press N and I'm going to call this object lens. And then this one I'm going to call it frame. So the next part is fairly straightforward. Okay, I'm going to apply a smooth shading so that it doesn't look so faceted. So the next part is just to extrude. So I'm selecting the frame right now, going to edit mode, and then press A to select all the faces, and then press E to extrude a thin section. Okay, and then now I'm going to get out to object mode, select the lens, press tab to go to edit mode, press A to select all the faces, then press E and also extrude to form the lens. Alright, so now you can have a perfect lens that's sitting nicely within the. Okay, let me see. I don't think I have extruded, so I only moved the lens forward. Let me undo. Okay, I should press E and then extrude it outwards. Yes, much better. So now I have a nice lens and then I have the frame. So I'm going to recombine both of them together. Okay, so select both the lens and the frame and press Ctrl J to combine them both together. And then I'm going to select the central faces here in the middle. Press X to delete them away. Okay, so next thing I want to do is just to mirror these two halves together. So before I do that, I want to reset the center of the object. So I'm going to object mode first. Okay, I don't want to go to weight paint. So I go back to object mode and make sure the pivot is in the origin. So press Shift C. And then over on the tools panel here, there's a set origin. So set the origin to 3D cursor. So right now the center jumps over here. Then apply the mirror in the mirror modifier. Okay, so now we have the other half. Okay, in order to have a much nicer looking profile of the sunglasses, we want to rotate, okay, the lens and the frame this direction, so it looks like it has a wraparound effect. So I'm going to select, okay, all the elements, and I'm going to turn or switch my pivot point to reference the 3D cursor. Then I'm going to rotate back. Okay, my snap is on. I'm going to turn it off. Okay, and by clicking on this magnet and then press R again and rotate slightly so that it has a curved effect. So now there's a gap between. So to fill in the gap, I'm going to go to edge selection mode and select the open edge. Press S followed by X0 oops, my proportional editing is still on. I'm going to switch it off. So S followed by X, then 0. So now the center is joined together. All right. So you can see the frames and the lens are nicely created. Now all we have to do is to select a few of the faces here and then extrude it to form the nose bridge rest. Okay, I'm not an optician, so I'm not sure what these. Okay, what the nose bridge rest, nose pads. Okay, I'm not sure what these are called. Okay, all right. My pivot point, I need to switch it back to median point so I can scale this down. And perhaps bring this up, and then these two guys, bring them down to create the nose bridge. If I apply a subdivision modifier, maybe 2 levels of subdivision by pressing Ctrl 2, okay, it's actually looking pretty good. All right. So the next thing you want to model is to create the the rest of the glasses, which is these frames here. Okay, so I'm going to move this forward and perhaps just go to edit mode, select all the elements and rotate it slightly to follow the image reference. Okay, so for this one, you can just simply use a cube. So I'm going to press Shift A, create a cube. Okay, I guess you call these handles, right? So I'm going to go to the top view over here, scale it down, in the x-axis, and perhaps just bring this piece down here and bring it up here. I'm going to scale everything down. Okay, you probably shouldn't scale this in object mode, but if you do, right, you want to apply a scale reset or scale freeze if you're using the Maya terminology. So press Control A and then you reset the scale again. So now for this handle, I'm going to go to edit mode and then just simply select the vertices and extrude. Okay, so press A to deselect and select the 2 vertices at the end here. Then press G to grab and move them first. Okay, right now I have a problem. I did not select the vertices behind, so I'm going to undo and turn on my non-clipping mode so that when I press B to box select, now the vertices behind is selected. Okay, so I'm going to press G to drag this group over here, scale it up slightly, press E to extrude a small section and then scale it down slightly. I'm going to press Z to go to wireframe mode so I can see through. Okay, so now I disabled the clipping mode so that when I drag a box over the 2 vertices, the vertices behind will be selected. So this one is fairly straightforward. Okay, I'm going to rotate this slightly. And then holding down the Control and left mouse button to extrude this smaller section. Okay, then there's the scaling issue from the top view looks a bit odd, so I'm just going to refine the scale by selecting one side, S followed by X 0 to flatten it, then do the other side as well, S followed by X and then 0. Just make the stem thicker, right? So you can apply a subdivision modifier. I'm going to press Control 2, number pad 2, so that I have the handle. I'm going to smooth it and then I'm going to apply a few more edge loops right at the end here. And right at the section where there's a transition in the curves, and also maybe the top part as well. Now before I do that, I'm just going to tweak this section, give it a bit of thickness, and then insert one edge loop up here and then another one down here. And then perhaps for this entire section here, I can scale it slightly along the x-axis so that I can give the handles a bit of a taper. Okay, so in order to keep this video short, I'm going to end it around here. And if I were to attach this handle, right, onto the frame, it should also inherit the modifiers of this object, and then the other handle will appear on the other side. So I'm gonna select this one and then shift select this frame and lens, and then press Ctrl J to join, and then now I have the sunglasses done. Okay, so you can model in the other details later on, like the hinge, right? But more or less, this is how I will model my sunglasses. Okay, so let me just quickly add some materials. I have to go to edit mode, press A to deselect, press L to select the lens portion, and apply. I'm going to use Cycles Renderer. Okay, and then I'm going to give it a... Okay, now for the overall, perhaps I just give it a dark glossy plastic. Okay, and the color, just a dark black color. All right, and then for the lens, I'm going to create another new material. Glass material, maybe a dark brown, and then I'm going to just hit assign, so it's going to assign only to the selected object. Okay, and let's see what it looks like in rendered mode. Okay, so there I need to have some lights, so I'm going to use the environment as my lighting source. So click on the world, color, I'm just going to bump it up to white. Okay, so I need a floor, so I don't have any floor, so it's not generating any reflection, so I'm going to go ahead and create a floor. So Shift A, create a plane, scale this plane up. I'm going to bring the sunglasses up a little bit. And I'm going to get rid of this light, and the color, I'm going to try to change it to a sky texture. And then the ground, I'm going to give it just a beige color, so there is some contrast. Okay, and then I'm going to turn on my preview again. Okay, I guess I should produce a light source, because even the sky is not providing enough light. Okay, unless I really bump up the strength, and still I'm not getting the result that I want. So I'm going to duplicate this plane, Shift D to duplicate this, and I'm going to use this plane as a light source. Okay, my select proportional is still on. I'm going to get rid of this extra one. Okay, so for this piece, I'm going to use it as a light source. I'm going to create a new material. Let's see. New material, and this one, which is a pure white emitter color. Okay, let's see what is the result now. Okay, it's looking slightly better, and I can just bump up the color a little bit, or rather the brightness a little bit more. And the glass material itself, just make it a little bit more transparent. And there you go. Okay, this is how you model a pair of sunglasses using Blender. Okay, now these edges here look a little bit hard, but I guess you can tweak it later on. Okay, so that is my tutorial on how to do the sunglasses. Thanks for watching, and hope you give this a try.